Hello everyone in the YouTube universe. This is officially my very first voiceover record video that I am doing for YouTube. Previously they have actually only been on SkillShare, and that's only in the last couple months. So you'll have to let me know what you think of this video, and if you want to see more videos that have a voiceover in them. So don't forget to comment down below and like and subscribe this video. So what this video is all about is it is a quick little time lapse on the most recent class that I have done for Skillshare, with this one being the focus on shading and highlighting the human figure in this illustration using a strong light source. There is quite a bit of time put into designing the character and doing all the line work for the character, but since it is on Skillshare for the longer version, you can skip ahead to which video you'd like to see. You don't actually have to watch all of them in order if you want to skip certain parts. I'm sure some of you have probably heard about Skillshare in the past, but if not, it is a website where people will create courses to teach other people various skills that they have learned. So essentially it is a community of teachers and students learning and growing together, creating new content on a regular basis. If you like this video, I will have a link to the course in the description below. If you sign up through the link, you'll get 2 months free access to all the content on Skillshare. You don't have to feel obligated to continue with the subscription after the 2 months is up. Okay, so now into what you will find on Skillshare when it comes to this course. This process is 8 steps, as well as the introduction video and a little bonus video at the end. And as always, being a course on Skillshare, there's a class project for you to complete, where you will practice the new skills that you have learned. As you may have seen already, we're currently on step 3, which is the line art for this project, where steps 1 and 2 were the initial figure sketch and then a more detailed figure sketch, including some of the smaller or finer details that you see on the clothing. Once I finished with the line work, it is on to laying down all of the base color. In this case, it can be a messy process, but as I'm using one layer on top of another, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can go outside the lines if you're just going to paint over it on a future layer. As you see here, I lay down a background color just to help with some of the lighter colors and to make sure all the color is even. Once step 4 is complete, it is time to move on to step 5, where you begin to lay down all of the base shadows. This process just involves planning where you're going to be putting all of your shadows, although some of them you actually won't worry about till the final details phase, where you can adjust any areas that need further adjustment. I use 2 colors in this process, a mid-tone range and a darker one. So the darker one for the areas of the darkest shadow and the mid-tone for areas of the lighter shadows. It is generally considered best to use one of a different hue, so you slide the circle over rather than just going a few shades darker. You add in a slightly different color hue. I've tried this. I personally don't really like the effect on some of my illustrations, so I tend to just go a little bit darker, maybe slight different shade in the hue, but not by too much. Once all of the base shadows are laid down, we move into step 5, which is blending the shadows. For this, you can play around with whatever different brush styles you use. I like to just stick with a lighter version of the paintbrush that I used rather than the blending tools, as I like the effect that gives better than what the blending tools do. Out of all the steps in this process, the blending of the shadows actually took me the longest and had to be sped up the most. Once you're finished with blending the shadows, you move on to step 6, which is where you lay down the base highlights. The steps for applying the base highlights and blending the highlights are pretty much the same as applying the shadows and blending the shadows. You're just going in slightly different areas, always being sure to know where your light source is coming from, and when you need to, checking the reference image that you used for your light source to make sure that you have everything in the correct spot to give your illustration the most depth possible. Once the highlighting steps 6 and 7 are complete, it's time to move on to adding all the finishing touches in step 8. In this step, we'll make any necessary adjustments to the lighting on your figure, as well as using any special brushes to create additional textures in the hair, the clothing, adding any jewelry, any finishing touches that you feel that your character needs. If you would like to watch a slowed down version of this, spread over 8 videos, including a little bonus section on how to use the 3D models in Clip Studio Paint to get your lighting references, be sure to come and check out the full class on SkillShare. It is 45 minutes long, and I will even go over why I shaded in some of the spots, what kind of reference I used. I've included other reference sources, the step-by-step image that you see me working on throughout this whole process, along with the watermarked version of the final illustration. The entire process is done as a voiceover and a lot more detail. And to all of my lovely patrons, you get a special bonus which will be uploaded into your OneDrive folder, where you can watch the 2x speed of this video. It doesn't include all of the brush changes that are in the Skillshare video, but you get to watch a much slowed down version of the painting process. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.